Hey, welcome to Mallard of Fact. I haven't gone through this article yet, so we can go through it together. It says, doing your own research is a good way to end up being wrong. Now, I would assume that this is about following fake news articles or doing your own research on topics that are not covered by the mainstream. Things of that sort. So let's get right into this. The internet has been a huge boom for accessibility of information. There are very few barriers to consuming classic literature or detailed scientific analyses or catalogs of news reports. There's also an exorbitant amount of garbage information, of course, and an entire universe of people who say stuff that they think will get people to click links that will earn themselves money. Okay, I must say already, doing your own independent research, if you follow actual scientific method, is great. That is what science is. And the problem with a lot of science today is they will cast out any anomalies and call them just that. It's an anomaly to the scientific process. And it's ridiculous that that's how they come to these conclusions. And honestly, we should have more independent research. While confidence in American institutions has been in decline for some time, yeah, because it's bogus. A lot of the stuff that is put out is complete trash. I'll give you one example. It's a very weird one, but it's something that's more current. So lately, there was that whole alien thing in Miami. It's something about 10-foot aliens. I don't know. I'm not saying there's 10-foot aliens, whatever. But what was weird is they used a story about how there were these three kids that set off fireworks or something. People thought they were gunshots. People went crazy, yada, yada, yada. They used that story as like the official release. That story had actually taken place 1 year prior to that incident on that same exact day, 1 year prior. And that's the thing. Like, that was a mainstream news agency, whatever, putting out information, and people just took it at face value, like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. That's a good story. That's not how it should be. You shouldn't just follow one source. And we do need more people that are independent researchers, scientists, detectives, whatever it may be. We need these independent people, or we're going to be fed a bunch of lies. And we need to ask out about it. And that's what's so funny about this article saying if you do your own research, you're going to end up being wrong. Yeah, according to them. All right, let's keep going. The result is there is a supply and demand for nonsense or appealing framed errors. Yeah, they make it sound already as if any mainstream news media outlet is just 100% factual all the time. A lot of times when they report on things, they jump the gun. They put out this information so fast that they themselves have not had time to look it over. And they of course will make errors because they want to be one of the first people to cover it. It's a breaking story. You need to get the information out soon. That's how news agencies work. So there's always going to be errors. It doesn't matter who is doing the reporting. This month, this dude reported on research released last year that showed how people doing their own research on the internet often led to them to gain more confidence in untrue information. You know, that's something that's definitely going to happen. If you're looking for something specific and you want to find something to be a certain way, of course you can find that information. You can find what you're looking for, and that's the problem with the internet. Maybe that's what they're trying to get at. Like, let's say you want to quit drinking coffee. So you go to Google and you put in why coffee is bad for you. And then you get this whole list of all these negative things to do with coffee. But if you did the opposite, you say like, I want to justify drinking coffee, so I'm going to look up coffee benefits. And then you'll see this whole list of the benefits of coffee. There can be more than one side of a coin. There's always something, it really just depends what it is that you're looking for. Are you looking for the truth, or are you looking to justify something? And that's where, yes, there can be misinformation or bad research or whatever, but that's just a user error. That's not necessarily the internet's fault. And of course there is made up information out there. But if you really care enough to do your digging, you can confirm sources, you can do your own research, and you can do a better job than a lot of these major players. Later, they summarize the process. When individuals search online about misinformation, they are more likely to be exposed to lower quality information than when individuals search about true news. like, wait, what? What does that even mean? And those who are exposed to low quality information are more likely to believe false or misleading news stories to be true relative to those who are not. I know this is coming from the Washington Post, and I'm guessing if you look into it, you're going to find that not every single thing that Washington Post has ever posted has been correct or true. But they're saying you need to follow these specific sources that are trusted sources, or you're going to be bamboozled. Well, you're going to be tricked no matter what if you follow something blindly. If you think, like, oh, this company, this group can do no wrong. No, you need to keep an open mind. Just because somebody has good points some of the time doesn't mean they're going to have bad points, doesn't mean they're going to have bad research. You need to dissect every single piece of information that's put in front of you. Always. That's something that you should always do. Always test the spirits. The mechanism is explored at length, but in short, false claims or other rumors often generate fewer hits on Google, meaning searchers are more likely to encounter unreliable information that aligns with their assumptions. So, once again, it's saying people searching for what they want to find. And if something seems more appealing because we are set on destruction, we love seeing things go wrong. We don't want to see just happy news. The news that really works out a lot of the time is super depressing. Things that grip you, things that you hate seeing, but you watch. You need to see. Like something terrible has happened over here and it's like, "Oh, I need to know about this." It doesn't actually have any direct impact on me, but it's such a major thing that you're drawn to it. And that's just the weird psychology of, our human nature. We are just very weird beings. And that's how it works. So yes, if you say like, "Oh, Bigfoot was at the mall along with those aliens and whatever," people are going to be like, "What?" If this was put out by a credible news source, it would get so many views. So many views, way more than like some political candidate running for yada yada. That kind of stuff just gets drowned out by these bigger, more interesting issues or more interesting stories. Like a parent confronted with allegations of misbehavior by their child, those individuals would presumably be more likely to embrace dubious information supporting their belief than information that corroborates with the allegations. Very true. A lot of parents, they think like their kid can do no wrong, and that's the information that they choose to believe. It makes sense. I get what they're saying here. But at the same time, like I said, you need to do your own research, even if it's a credible source. In this day and age, especially with all the deep fakes and with so much misinformation, there could be a credible source that you've been following, this true news source, and somebody could have faked it. And if you didn't do your own research and you assumed that this was the authentic source, you're going to suddenly believe something that is completely wrong. Let's say somebody put up a fake Washington Post article or news story, whatever, and you just assumed it was a Washington Post, but you follow them blindly because they're a trusted news source, you're going to be put down some pretty strange path. So you always have to do your own independent research, no matter what. The article here goes on to call out a couple different sites: the Gateway Pundit, the channels like One America News, which I described shortly after the 2020 election as a pro-Trump video channel offered with a cable news-like aesthetic, elevated numerous baseless claims before being booted from major cable news systems. Its programming often appeared to be the equivalent of taking Alex Jones' InfoWars but setting it in a local television news studio. Doing your own research might lead you to reputable looking sources that are anything but. And it's funny because a lot of these news sources that get claimed as being fake news, what they end up saying ends up being true. I mean, just look at the list right now with Jeff. There's a lot that goes on that people try to cover, and then it gets blasted as being fake news because the people that are doing these heinous crimes are doing their best to suppress it and push it down and call it fake news. So don't just give in to following one specific group. Do your own research. Don't let people tell you not to. This has been Mallard of Fact. I hope you found this insightful. I'll see you in the next one.